Right. So rupee going up increases my input cost by significant amount, but the same thing I get back in my export revenue. So we don't see much of a direct impact, but of course it is affecting the input cost. The commodity prices are going up, some because we are importing, and some because the Indian prices go up even when the exchange rate goes up, because they maintain parity with overseas prices.
And Dr. Goenka, how do you see the fuel prices play out? Because that again is a bit of a concern for the industry as a whole. Fuel prices.
Fuel price. Yeah, I think right now it is on the higher side. And what I had mentioned at the beginning of this year, that up to 70-75 crude price will be okay. Beyond that, it's going to start pinching. We are right at that sort of top of the 70-75. And if it goes to 80-85, then I think there will have to be some consideration, in my view, to see if there should be some relaxation in taxes to compensate for higher prices.
Marazzo looks like an exciting product. The pricing has been very aggressive, looking to win back lost market share.
Well, as you can see that when somebody says Marazzo, I get a smile on my face because it really has been a very well received product. Of course, it's only 3 days old, and 3 days is not long enough for us to celebrate, but the initial reaction has been very positive. Everybody who has seen that, media, the customers, the dealers, the analysts, everybody is very positive on what the product will be. And I want to be very candid that the price that we have announced is a limited time offer. That price will not remain for long. But even so, in terms of what the product has to offer, the design, the content, the features, specific technology that we put in, I think all are very exciting. So we do hope that we will get good volume, and if we get good volume, of course, it will help us to get market share back.
In fact, the big theme is e-mobility. I mean, you've been one of the first movers into electric vehicles. How do you see the market shaping up? Because at the end of the day, there are many obstacles right now for EVs. I mean,
well, see, I have lost my credibility in this, because I have been saying for many years that we are just about to take off. And therefore, I will say the same thing again. But I don't think anybody believes me anymore when it comes to electric vehicles. But I have reasons to think that maybe this time it is real. And the reason I'm saying that is that the Farm 2 scheme, from what I understand, has been approved at the highest level. I'm also told that the Honorable Prime Minister may announce the Farm 2, though there is some uncertainty about it, tomorrow in the MOVE Summit. And that kind of shows, and the fact that it is a 5-year scheme and not a 1 year, 2 year, so that gives stability. And that's what many players are looking for, this stability. And most important thing is that they are talking about putting money behind charging infrastructure. So if I look at all of these things and look at all the state governments' policies that are coming out, and look at all the ministers today also, both the ministers talk about electric vehicles. I think we are almost there. Okay, just getting to that tipping of scale. We are almost there, and I had mentioned that if this year we don't start seeing a ramp up on electric vehicles, then we might as well not talk electric vehicles. So I want to give ourselves as a country, not as Mahindra only, as a country till March 2019.
Okay,
and hope that by then we get
looks like a stiff target, actually.
I'm sorry?
Looks like a stiff target.
Not really. See, ESL, the 10,000 vehicle order to two players, that I think will do a lot in terms of bringing visibility and credibility to electric vehicle. And at present we have at least 15 fleet operators who have bought our vehicles in small quantities, 5, 10, 15, 20, and they are all pilots. Now, if the pilots succeed meaning commercially as well as technologically, then of course the ramp up can be very fast.
So is the business viable only with government incentives and subsidies, at least for the next 5 years?
I would say at least for the next 3 to 4 years. Because the battery prices have come down, but not enough to make the electric vehicles self-sustaining. And as you can make out, that in India the use of electric vehicles will not be in personal mobility space. It will be more in commercial mobility. And therefore, for commercial mobility, it has to be an absolutely commercial break-even. No fleet operator is going to buy electric vehicle because it's a nice thing to do. They'll buy it only because it is less cost per kilometer for them to run. And we are, I think, about that much away now to get to that level.
But one thought is also that maybe let the market decide. Why are you thrusting a technology on the people? I mean, whether it's EV or hybrid, ethanol, I mean, I mean, the consumers are smart enough to figure that out, right?
No, I have slight disagreement on that. I'll tell you why. See, when it comes to whether to give, let's say, an air conditioner or not, that consumer should decide, because it's up to the consumer to know whether. But when it comes to making the car safe and making the car clean, you cannot let the consumer decide, because an individual consumer is not going to pay for making the car clean, right? An individual consumer may not value safety, because we all believe that the accidents happen to somebody else, it will never happen to me.
Sure.
And it is the role of the regulator to ensure that our cars are safe and our cars are clean. And in terms of cleanliness, while everything that you mentioned are cleaner than the normal standard ICE engine, but electric vehicle is the limit in a sense that they have zero tailpipe emission. And therefore, for government to say that I'm putting thrust on electric, I'm not against anything else. I'm not against anything else, but this is a choice made by the government that they want to put all their thrust on electric vehicle and biofuels. And for whatever reason, they think that hybrid should not be supported. If they support it, I'm happy. If they don't support it, we align and we say we focus on electric vehicles.
The only concern is the kind of job losses that could entail. I mean, at least in the near term, if we drastically switch to electric.
I absolutely agree with you. It's very important to keep the pace of electrification in line with the pace of localization of electric vehicles. And if you go too fast, that the Indian industry is not able to localize both at the supplier side as well as the OEM side, then we will end up exporting jobs, which is certainly not desirable for the country, because jobs, as you said, heard earlier, that we need to provide 24 crore jobs. Was it 24? 2.4 crore. 2.4 crore, right?
And it's one of the, and auto industry is one of the multiplier effects are there when it comes to employment economy. So it plays a very critical role.
So I think the regulators have to be very careful about ensuring that for one good thing, we don't create something else that becomes a problem. And I think everybody is well aware of it. And I know that for Government of India, jobs are very important, and they will not do anything which that will compromise with the job growth.
But sir, I mean, in terms of supplies to the government, what's your experience been? I mean, are there issues still with the product that is being delivered, or when ESSL sometimes raises some questions, whether it's from Tata Motors, or but is that an issue still?
I think you should ask ESL. You should ask ESL whether there are any problems with the product that we have supplied. To the best of my knowledge, no. But you should ask ESL.
And what is the kind of progress you've made with Ford when it comes to electric vehicles? I understand you are looking at broad-basing your alliance, but EV is one of the core things on the agenda, right?
Not one of the core things. It is one of the 5 things. Okay, so we have announced 5 things: mid-size SUV, EV on Ford platform, Mahindra engines on Ford platform, mobility, and connectivity. So we are progressing on all 5. None of this yet is signed as a definitive agreement, and we are close on a couple of them, and hopefully we'll have the decision next month.
It also includes getting into new markets and things like that.
That is not part of the MOUs that we have signed. That's not in the MOU. MOU are for these 5 things.
And sir, BS6 by 2020, how close are you to the target in terms of, I mean, a comprehensive scrappage policy is very much necessary for that.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Comprehensive scrappage policy.
Scrappage policy. Okay, so we are mixing 2 things. So let me first talk about BS6. So as far as BS6 is concerned, it was a daunting task. Okay, and I must give full credit to Mr. Gadkari, Honorable Minister of Road Transport, for being firm on this thing, because industry was very concerned about being able to meet the norm, and this was not just sort of crying foul, it was a genuine concern, because nobody had done it. Now I think because he forced us on this tight deadline, everybody has risen to the occasion. And to the best of my knowledge, almost every player in the industry would be ready on 31st March 2020. The only concern that I see is if the honorable courts decide that becomes the end of selling date, which is still not decided. That will be very unfortunate, because
right now it's manufacturing date.
And see, if you have to end sale on that date, we have to stop manufacturing at least 3 months before that.
Absolutely.
And that just like preponing the norms by 3 months, which is going to be very, very difficult for us. And I hope that doesn't happen. But I think as far as being ready is concerned, Mahindra at least would be ready with all models. Maybe 1 or 2 small volume may slip into April, May, but more or less will be ready with all models. As far as scrappage policy is concerned, that is applicable to basically trucks. And I think it's a very important thing, because undoubtedly, without a scrappers policy, the commercial vehicle or truck industry will slow down in FY21 because the cost will go up 1.5–2 lakh rupees, and therefore there will definitely be a pre-buying and a slowdown. If the scrappers policy comes on 1st April 2020, it will compensate for that slowdown, and the industry therefore will not miss a beat. And this industry is doing well right now after many years of being on the sort of subdued.
And the GDP numbers suggest that maybe the good run will continue for some time.
Let me tell you one thing that I don't know if you have ever noticed that. If you look at the top 5 countries in GDP and top 5 countries in auto industry, they are same.
Okay, that's good. I mean, it's a direct correlation.
Direct correlation. Top 5 countries: US, Japan, Germany, China, and India, both in auto as well as GDP.
Dr. Goenka also wanted to know about the patent complaint by Fiat Chrysler. Is there a bit of a concern?
Nothing more for me to say. We have already announced what we are doing, so nothing new for me to add.
There is nothing new. And in terms of two-wheelers, sir, this is one weak link that the company has as of date. I mean, how do you get out of this?
I think once we launch our CLPL product, the Java brand, we are very hopeful that this sort of talk that happens all the time about two-wheeler will not be there anymore.
Oh,